Part 21. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dowby in the World. Chapter 201. Chapter 201 Sent to South Africa to dig diamonds. Since childhood, Chi Lili has always stood in front of Qian Yuman to protect her and not let anyone bully her. However, she couldn't do anything about the incident 5 years ago. She failed to protect her sister and allowed her to be bullied. After 5 years, she would never allow anyone to hurt her sister again, especially the person closest to her sister. Tanyuj was taught a lesson by Chi Lili. He looked ugly but did not quibble. Chi Lili was right to worry about things, and he had no way to quibble. These problems do exist, which is why he did not take Qian Yuman home directly. He originally wanted to wait for the matter here to be settled before taking her back to the country. Unexpectedly, she suddenly returned to China to surprise him, and she accidentally found out about things that he had wanted to hide from her. My sister needs a good rest these days, so don't come over to disturb her rest or make her feel upset. After Chi Lil said this, she strode away. I believe what she said was clear enough. As for what to do, don't worry about it. She needs to teach him. Tanyuj raised his head and looked quietly in the direction of Qian Yuman's residence for a long time before leaving. He did not go home directly, but came to his friend Lan Group's city branch to find him. He arrived at his friend's office without any obstruction. Lan Tianlu listened to the special assistant's report with an indifferent expression. When he saw his friend, he barged in without knocking. He glanced at the special assistant indifferently, and the special assistant folded the documents in his hand. Exit the office. Lan Tianlu ignored Tanyuj, but took a look at a contract and signed his name. Tanyuj rolled his eyes, walked up to him and took out the information in his hand, preventing him from continuing to work. Xiao Tian, when did you become a workaholic? This handsome guy came to see you, didn't you see him? Tanyuj said resentfully. Just now, he was criticized indifferently by Chi Lili, but now he saw his friend this Wanyan man again. Indifferent man. Lan Tianlu raised his eyes and looked at his friend indifferently. You look like a resentful woman today. Tanyuj breathed heavily in his chest. He stretched out his hand and slapped the table hard to vent his anger. How can I not blame my wife? My wife is ignoring me now. Recently, she is chasing her like a resentful woman every day. However, my wife has such a bad temper and is determined to ignore me. I am going crazy. Oh. What does that have to do with me? Lan Tianlu said calmly. Tanyuj continued to pound the table angrily. Of course it's none of your business. I'm here to ask you something today. Lan Tianlu spread his hands, with a faint smile on his face. I want the bottle of Chateau Cheval Blanc that you were reluctant to give up when I asked you for it last time, otherwise I won't help. I haven't even asked for it yet, and you're cheating on me, aren't you a good brother? Remember to close the door when you go out. Lan Tianlu lowered his head and continued working. Tanyuj was angry and made bad friends by mistake. I heard that your Lan group recently discovered a new mine, so I sent your special assistant to South Africa to dig for diamonds. I have 5 special assistants, which one do you want to help me with? Xian Yingzhi, that boy from the Xian family, send him out quickly, as far as you can. He has been hanging around my wife every day lately, and she is annoying to death. Tanyuj was extremely resentful at the moment, thinking that Xian Yingzhi was still staying in Qian Yingzhi. At Yiman's house, he could come in and out of her residence at will, and he would be unhappy if he just appeared around her. Lan Tianlu looked melancholy, very embarrassed. I want to think about it. You also know that Yingzhi is my special assistant in Asia and a very important right-hand man to me. Sending such a talent to South Africa to dig for diamonds is overkill. If you have read The Concubine in my completed novel, you must know the identity of Xian Yingzhi. He is the special assistant to the male protagonist in my completed novel. The male protagonist of the finished novel is Lan Tianlu, the handsome guy who ruined his friends. If you like The Concubine, you can go and read it. It is also because of a love story triggered by 1 million. The title of the book once again says the boss has exited the circle. The heroine is a mischievous high school student who is determined to take revenge. She meets Lan Tianlu, a cold and handsome guy who doesn't understand love. She is sweet and doting, and occasionally a little abusive. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 202. Chapter 202 Wife, open the door. White Horse Manor. Tangyuj reluctantly gave up his love. His bad friends thought about how to defraud him of his treasure every day, and sooner or later they would defraud everything. Lan Tianlu smiled brightly and was very satisfied. Early the next morning, Qian Yuman received a call from Xian Yingzhi, who cried out sadly. Xiao Qian, Wu. I was sent to South Africa by the evil boss to mine. Wu, I have to go for a month. When I come back, my fair and tender skin will definitely be darker. I will no longer be handsome. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. Qian Yuman burst into laughter listening to Xian Yingzhi's shout. Why are you sent? Ridiculously, why did you send me? The baby is not happy. Ha ha ha. I can't help you, I can only remind you not to be raped by black people, ha ha ha. Qian Yuman hesitated to say the next words. In South Africa, where black people are everywhere, the immortal Yingzhi looks like so cute, it is inevitable that he will have evil intentions. He must protect the chrysanthemum from being destroyed. After hanging up the phone, Qian Yuman continued to lie on the bed like a salted fish. In the past 2 days, she was fed a lot of tonics by her sister like a sow. She thought she could climb high mountains without breathing problems, but her sister insisted on her rest at home for a week. Every day when she was sleeping, she took out her mobile phone and looked at the screen. She blocked Mr. Tang for 2 days, and when she felt a little relieved, she pulled him out of the dark room. Less than a minute later, the phone rang, and the screen lit up with 3 words "little bastard," which was Qian Yuman's new nickname for Mr. Tang. At the same time as the cell phone rang, the doorbell also rang. Looking at the phone, Qian Yuman narrowed her eyes slightly, but did not answer the call. She ran to the door and looked out of the peephole, and saw Mr. Tang's handsome face appearing in the peephole. Oh, Mr. Tang is outside. How did he get in? The elevator requires residents to swipe their card to go upstairs. Even if the doorman sneaks into the community, how can he climb up the elevator? The stairs also have one-way door handles, so he cannot enter the residence floors. The doorbell kept ringing. Qian Yuman stared at the door but didn't open it for a long time. The doorbell rang for a while but still didn't open, so Tangyuj started banging on the door. Honey, open the door. Qian Yuman hid directly in the room with headphones in her ears. She couldn't see but didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know what to do when she covered her ears. At this time, a text message came in. It was a text message from Mr. Tang pleading. Honey, just open the door. Qian Yuman checked it and threw it aside, determined not to open the door. At this time, a text message came in from the domestic mobile phone. It was also a text message sent by Mr. Tang. Little bastard, Teacher May, I'm at the door. Open the door. I have something to explain about the last time you left your bra in my room. I wipe it. When, as Teacher May, she left her bra in his room, the two of them almost had an accident last time, but they only pushed it up a little but didn't take it off. Qian Yuman raised her eyebrows. Mr. Tang is really capable. He knows where her home is and can sneak into a high-end community. Now he even knows the domestic phone number. She found a wig and mask eyes in the room and dressed herself up as Teacher May. She went out to meet him, but she was curious about what excuses he could have. How Xiao Yingying provoked, sold, her boss and was sent to South Africa to mine. Please see chapter 71 of the final article for details. If the recommendation votes make it to the top 15 this week, I will update 4 chapters every day in the next month, and if it reaches the top 10, I will update 5 chapters every day next week. Just so domineering. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 203. Chapter 203, Terminate the engagement as quickly as possible. 1. After resting for a while, Qian Yuman went to open the door. When she opened the door, she had a rolling pin in her hand. When he heard the door open, Tang Yuj, who was sitting in a daze at the door, immediately jumped up from the ground and happily rushed towards Qian Yuman, but was pushed out by the rolling pin. Why is Mr. Tang so lucky to come to my place? We don't seem to know each other well. Tang Yuj smiled evilly, held the rolling pin in his hand, turned around and snatched the rolling pin away, and wrapped his arms around the person in his arms. Taking advantage of his height, he directly picked her up from the ground, stepped forward with her long legs, threw away the rolling pin, raised her feet and closed the door. She held up her chin with her other hand and looked at Jian, who was wearing a mask. Yi man, he performed a series of actions in one go, and Qian Yuman let him enter the room before she could react. He finally came in. He had been sitting at the door waiting for a day and a night before this cruel little woman was willing to let him in. He was almost waiting for his wife. After complaining for several days, Tang Yuj was very satisfied at this moment when he could finally hold his wife in his arms. Unfortunately, the mask on her face was too eye-catching. What are you doing? Seeing the thoughts in Tang Yuj's eyes, Tang Yuj smiled brightly and kissed Qian Yuman's red lips. Unfortunately, the mask prevented them from having close contact with each other. Tang Yuj held her slender waist tightly and kissed her through the mask. He did not lack interest because the mask blocked it, but the kiss had a different flavor. Wearing a mask, Tang Yuj was still very happy with the kiss. He hugged her into his arms with both hands. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart again. He still felt comfortable holding his wife. Qian Yuman was angry and annoyed, but also helpless. Women are much weaker than men, so they couldn't push him away. A certain little bastard whose kissing skills had improved significantly recently was kissing Qian Yuman through a mask, leaving many water stains on the mask. Damn it, she was really useless when it came to men, and she was seduced by him casually. Qian Yuman was also angry and annoyed with herself. She stretched out her hand and gently pushed the person away. Tang Yuj earned a lot of benefits through the mask. He was very happy, and the depression in his heart disappeared. He hugged Qian Yuman and smiled brightly. You just said that we are not familiar with each other. We are just a man and a woman who lied on the bed and kissed and hugged each other. You also said that we have nothing to do with each other? If you insist that we have nothing to do with each other, I don't mind continuing what we just did and let us have each other. The essence of what happened was extended into the discussion. Let her feel that he is not just saying it, he can come anytime, anywhere. Get out of here, you little who gets in love with you everywhere, but she likes it? The enthusiasm for this aspect is what makes them most compatible as a couple, and it is also the most honest expression of Mr. Tang's openness to sex. Go away. Qian Yuman stretched out her hand and pushed him away. Even if I was seduced by your beauty, as a people's teacher, I would not allow myself to have anything to do with you. You have a fiancé. You have to go and find your fiancé. Qian Yuman said angrily that she had always had a knot in her heart about the fact that he had a fiancé. Although she was a legal wife and would not be afraid of a fiancé without legal protection, she was still depressed and panicked. She didn't know Tang Yu's attitude towards this engagement. If he wanted to have a wife and hug his fiancée on the other side, she would never agree. She couldn't stand having another woman next to her husband. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 204. Chapter 204, break off the engagement as soon as possible too. No, I only have you. As long as you are my fiancé, they are nothing. Tang Yuj directly packed the person up and flew to the big bed happily. It's been a long time since he hugged his wife and lay in bed. After waiting outside the door for a day and a night, the floor tiles were cold and hard. It was uncomfortable to sit, let alone sleep. He just stared all day with his eyes open. He was almost exhausted. Now I want to sleep with my wife in my arms. You bastard, what are you doing? Put me down quickly. Jian Yuman reached out and patted his arm to ask him to put him down. Tang Yuj entered Jian Yuman's home for the first time, and for a moment he didn't know which room was the bedroom. Honey, where is the bedroom? Jian Yuman pointed to the location obediently, and then got upset after pointing it out. Her body was more honest than her mouth. Telling him where the bed was, wasn't it the same as telling him that she was welcome to mess around with her? Tang Yuj gently put Jian Yuman on the bed, quickly took off her clothes and shoes and got into bed, then got under the quilt, and gently patted the bed to let his wife get into. Don't think about doing bad things. Jian Yuman raised her leg to warn, and kicked him out of bed if he dared to mess around. Now that her pregnancy is unstable and her body is ailing, she doesn't dare to mess around with him. Doing strenuous exercise may hurt the baby. Tang Yuj shook his head quickly, laughed so hard, and rolled around on his wife's bed exaggeratedly. The baby is so sleepy. The baby is so tired. He just rolls around by himself. He will never dare to do anything else. I promise, baby. The sugar baby finally got in. How could he be kicked out again? He quickly acted cute and pretended to be cute in order not to be kicked out. There is a saying that as long as the goal can be achieved, achieving the goal shamelessly is also a means. Jian Yuman was amused by him and looked at the man who was blinking and grinning at her with a headache. She must be dreaming. Why is Mr. Tang like this? He is such a versatile star. When we first met him, he looked like an otaku. After marrying him, he looked like an honest nerd. When we met him again, he looked like a romantic young man. Sometimes he was carefree, sometimes he was like a stinky gangster, sometimes he was shameless and shameless. It's as good as anyone's, and now she's still acting cute and coquettish. What kind of man she would marry made her angry and funny. Obviously I like a domineering president, but she actually married a strange man. Jian Yuman lay down helplessly, knowing that he must be very tired after waiting outside all night. If it weren't for his sincerity, she wouldn't have let him in and given him a chance to explain. After Jian Yuman lay down, Tang Yuj immediately turned around and lay beside her, hugged her waist, leaned his head on her, and let out a contented sigh. Honey, I know you care about Chi Yuking's existence. It's my fault. I never mentioned to you that I have a fiancé before. It's just my fault that I didn't think it through and made my own decision. I wanted to deal with it silently, but I didn't expect that you would suddenly return to China. I returned to China early just to settle the engagement and take you home so that you wouldn't have to face these worries. I understand that you are angry, but don't listen to my explanation. I am also very wronged. Tang Yuj's explanation is still very useful. The unhappiness in Jian Yuman's heart is quickly disappearing. Although Jian Yuman snorted coldly and his expression became much softer, he was still worried about one thing in his heart. Then last time you touched Chi Yuking's head, do you have a good relationship? End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 205. Chapter 205. Mr. Tang, you are going to be a father. Tangyuj raised his hands seriously and swore to the sky. I promise that I will only touch my wife's head in this life and never touch the head of any other creature again. Qian Yuman chuckled. Who is your wife? Don't keep calling me wife. I am Teacher Mei. Tangyuj immediately changed his title. Wife Mei, I know you are angry that I have a fiancé, and there are too many complicated interpersonal relationships. I have absolutely no feelings for her. I have been lukewarm to her for so many years, and I will definitely keep my virginity to wait for you. I have always been disgusted with this marriage contract, and I don't like being used as a tool. This is not out of control. This is a way for the elders to consolidate business. Chi Yuking and I were both young when we got engaged, so how could we have any feelings for each other? If I hadn't just returned to the Tang family, my grandma would have made this engagement for me because of my status as the eldest young master of the Tang family. Just forgive me. I will definitely handle this matter well and not let you be wronged. Think about it. Jian Yuman raised her eyebrows, her tone softening a lot. Don't think about it anymore. I feel wronged about this matter too. You keep ignoring me during this period, and I'm going crazy. In order to get my wife as soon as possible, I also stated my attitude and position to my family. A few days ago, I told them about the dissolution of the engagement. Although the old man strongly opposed it, my grandma loved me and promised me to cancel the Qi family's engagement. The last time Qi Yuking came to the Tang family was to discuss the dissolution of the engagement. Get Chairman Qi away, otherwise Qi Yuking and I will have nothing to do with each other. At most, we will just be friends who grew up together. It's my fault. No, blame me for being too handsome, that's why I have so many romantic debts. Wife, don't be afraid, don't feel tired of loving me, I am already yours, what are you afraid of? Qian Yuman laughed at him again and reached out to pat his face. Why are you so shameless, just like when she was narcissistic? Knowing that Qian Yuman's anger had disappeared, Tangyuj finally let go of his hanging heart, and Duke Zhou also started to come to the door. Hold his wife's waist with both hands and smile contentedly. Having warm jade in his arms makes people feel happy. Mr. Tang, Qian Yuman called him softly. You should break off the engagement as soon as possible. I'll deal with it as soon as I wake up. I don't want to go back to Tang's house with you for the time being. Okay, anyway, you will definitely get looked at by the old man when you go back now, and I will feel bad for you. I feel sleepy, but I still have to continue talking to my wife. I've been thinking a lot in the past few days. I won't go for the time being and I have a lot of worries. You can resolve them as soon as possible and take me home. After all, the ugly daughter-in-law will meet her parents-in-law sooner or later, but not for too long. After all, my stomach can't wait. It's too long. I don't want to go back when my belly is so big that it's difficult to walk. Do you think we can find a suitable opportunity to go back with you to see your family? By the way, Mr. Tang, I forgot to tell you one thing. You are going to be a father. I am pregnant for 1 month and 10 days. Qian Yuman didn't wait for Tangyu's response for a long time. She frowned slightly and stared at Tangyuj with angry eyes. Is he not happy to be a father? Perhaps he doesn't want children yet? Qian Yuman was about to get angry when she lowered her head and saw that Mr. Tang's eyes were closed tightly, with a faint smile on his face. His face was relaxed and he had fallen into a deep sleep. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 206. Chapter 206. The Goddess of the Whole School. Qian Yuman stretched out her finger and poked his face gently. He remained unmoved, closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. She shook her head helplessly. It seemed that she was really tired and fell asleep after just a while. It seems that this punishment is a bit harsh. He was made to wait outside for so long before opening the door, and then fell asleep as soon as he touched the bed. He must not have heard about her pregnancy, otherwise he would not be so calm. No matter how sleepy he was, he would jump up because of this shocking news. How could he sleep so deeply? Little bastard, it's not that I didn't tell you, it's that you fell asleep at the critical moment. Tianyuman took off the mask on her face and threw it away. There was no point in trying to cover it up. The past few days of getting along with her had clearly told her that Mr. Tang would always recognize her no matter how she changed. At the same time, she was very curious as to how he recognized her. Even her biological parents could not accurately distinguish them back then. Looking at Mr. Tang sleeping soundly, Tianyuman also felt sleepy. When the two of them wake up, tell him about the pregnancy. The two couples had been separated for nearly a month and slept in the same bed again. When Tangyuj woke up again, it was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He woke up from hunger. He had not eaten since he stopped at the door. He had been waiting at the door for a day and a night. Now he woke up early because he was thirsty and hungry. When he woke up, Tianyuman was still sleeping. As a sow who was about to give birth, she was particularly good at sleeping. She only woke up when she was hungry at noon to cook and eat. After that, she fell back into bed to sleep. This was the end of her sleep. Afternoon. Tangyuj looked at her peaceful sleeping face, turned around and went to the kitchen to find something to eat, and sure enough he saw the lunch his wife had reserved for him. He heated it up in the microwave and ate the food cooked by his wife again. He missed it very much. He had not eaten the food cooked by his wife for more than 20 days and he often thought about it. After eating and drinking, Tangyuj turned back to the bedroom and saw that she was still sleeping. He gently sat on the edge of the bed, leaned over and kissed her on the cheek. "Honey, I'm going back now to settle the engagement. I won't let you be wrong, just wait until I come back," Tangyuj murmured softly. Tianyuman, who was still sleeping, naturally didn't hear what he said. She turned over and gently rubbed a pillow with a faint smile on her face. Tangyuj looked at her cute appearance, and a faint smile appeared on his face unconsciously. Relatively speaking, the couple on Tianyuman's side get along warmly, while Chi Lili's side is a sensation in the whole school. On the first day Chi Lili took Tianyuman's place in class. Wherever she went, a small group of people would gather, watching her and whispering to each other. But everyone's eyes were filled with admiration. They deeply admired teacher Qian, who had been in class for less than a month. Last week, the incident of teacher Qian arresting Luo Shan back to school made a lot of noise. People began to spread the identity and background of Tianyuman. Some people said that she was from the underworld, so she was very skilled. A woman solved 5 gangsters. Luo Shan, the boss of the whole school, was so scared that she came to class obediently in the next few days and did not dare to skip another class. Some people say that she was born in the military and hated undisciplined students, so when she saw Luo Shan skipping class, she would take him back to school without saying a word. The rumors are becoming more and more outrageous, and some people believe them while others do not. Especially when the rumors have become legendary, their credibility becomes lower and lower. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 207. Chapter 207, Angrily Scolding Students. Chi Lili doesn't care about rumors at all. Only a little rumor can scare some people in the school who are ready to move. As long as they are afraid of her sister will be less likely to cause trouble in the school in the future. When they were in the same school, many little boys couldn't help teasing them when they saw them, and then they were all taught a lesson by Chi Lili. From then on, no boys in the school dared to mess around, and no girls dared to cause trouble for them. Because they will weigh how much strength they have and whether they can beat Chi Lili. After all, Chi Lili has won national awards in martial arts, taekwondo, and judo, and it is not something that ordinary gangsters can do. However, there will always be a few people who do not believe in evil and want to challenge and test whether teacher Qian is as powerful as the rumors. No, when Chi Lil came to class on Monday, she was surrounded by several beautiful girls dressed fashionably. 7 or 8 girls gathered in front of her and blocked her way. "Teacher Qian, we have something to tell you," the leading girl said with a smile. Kylie looked at them indifferently, spared her coldly and arrogantly, and strode away. How could these little girls let go so easily and immediately blocked Chi Lil's path? "Teacher Qian, a group of us are warning you to stay away from Su Quarong and Tang Xingai, who are the 3 most popular students in our school. After all, you are a teacher, and it is not good to be too close to the students. Little girls are sometimes very bored and like to gather a group of people to bully the weak, but Chi Lili does not belong to the weak group." The group of people in front of her were not the first group of people to cause trouble for her today. However, she was a teacher now, and she couldn't do anything to them. She could only use her momentum to overpower them. Chi Lili looked at the students with cold eyes and taught them seriously. "If you don't study hard, what are you doing every day? The final exam is coming soon. If your grades are too bad, you will be repeated or expelled. Can you promise to stay? You are not our class teacher, so you don't need to take care of us," the little girls protested at once. Chi Lili sneered. "As a member of the school's teaching team, I naturally care about the school's admission rate. If you block my way today, I don't mind taking you to the Dean of Teaching to have a good talk about the study plan for the next year." Chi Lili had a bright smile on her face and her eyes were shining with golden light. She looked harmless, but she was terrifying the group of students in front of her. "Don't go to class yet," Chi Lili scolded angrily, and the timid one immediately turned around and ran away. The bold one saw that all the coward ones had run away, so they ran away too as they lost confidence. Chi Lili shook her head helplessly. These students were really naughty. She had never been patient with naughty people, but she was not in the mood to speak nicely. Chi Lili went straight back to the office. As soon as she arrived, she found that the teachers looked at her differently. Even teacher Julie, who usually likes to chat with Jian Yuman, secretly looked at her with a pair of scrutinizing eyes. Some teachers also believed that Jian Yuman was a member of the underworld. Chi Lili never cared about what others thought of her. She still prepared the content for her class, since it was still early for class anyway. "Report, is teacher Qian here?" A handsome little boy appeared at the door of the office. Chi Lili looked up and immediately recognized the other person as Fei Shen's younger brother Tang Xingai. How could he come to find his sister? End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 208. Chapter 208. The true identity is discovered. Tang Xingai ran to her side with a smile and pulled Chi Lili out. Chi Lili knew that Jian Yuman and Tang Xingai had a good relationship, but she still pulled back her hand and kept a little distance because all the teachers in the office were looking at them. There were already a lot of rumors circulating throughout the school, and she didn't want to cause unwarranted suspicion to her sister. Tang Xingai and Chi Lili walked to a slightly secluded location and were alone together. Tang Xingai started laughing. "What do you want from me?" Chi Lili said coldly. "Teacher Qian, what is your relationship with my elder brother?" Tang Xingai was very curious when he saw Jian Yuman being taken away by Tang Yuj last time. However, Jian Yuman had not asked for leave during this period and could not come to the Tang family. He didn't want to press him. Given the opportunity, I finally looked forward to class time, so I naturally grabbed her and asked her for details. "Leave the child alone," Chi Lili simply said. She knew the Tang family, but she didn't know that her sister was Tang Yuj's wife, and she didn't intend to help her sister tell her. Tang Xingai was stunned and looked at the cold-faced teacher Qian with burning eyes. The more he looked at it, the more strange he felt. I think you are unhappy again today. The more I look at it, the more I think this looks like my second brother's fiancée Qi Lile. Qi Lili smiled and answered naturally. We are twins, so we look alike. Tang Xingai shook his head. No, you even give people the same impression. Other students believe that I am not that easy to fool. In the past few days, the school has heard that you are a good fighter, so I suspected that you were the second sister-in-law. But I remember that the second sister-in-law has strong hands and feet. Were you the one who took Luo Shan back to school the first time? Tang Xingai couldn't figure out why they exchanged identities. Is it fun? Why do you want to exchange identities? Qi Lili narrowed her eyes slightly, remembering that she asked her sister to do the examination on her behalf and pretend that she was pregnant to deceive the people of the Tang dynasty family. She was not familiar with Tang Xingai and wondered if Tang Xingai would tell nonsense. In the past period, she had not thought about faking a miscarriage, but she had been slow to act. Recently, she changed her mind. If she could really get pregnant in a short time, it would be better than acting in a play, so she did not look for it during this period. My sister cooperates in acting. She is not confirmed to be pregnant now, and the Tang family must not know the truth, otherwise her wedding to Faishan will be in jeopardy and it will be disrupted at any time. Because she cared so much, she didn't allow any mistakes. She didn't even dare to tell Fei Chen that she was not pregnant. Possibly out of guilty conscience, she didn't want Tang Xingai to know about her and her sister's status as exchange students. You think too much. Then let me ask you, what do I usually call you? Tang Xingai asked with his chin held high. Qi Lili frowned slightly. Judging from Tang Xingai's appearance, there should be other names between him and his sister, otherwise he wouldn't use this question to make things difficult for her. However, she didn't know what he and his sister usually called each other. Qi Lili's silence further confirmed Tang Xingai's suspicion that the person in front of her was indeed not Jian Yuman. Qi Lili suddenly punched the iron box mailbox on the wall, her eyes narrowed slightly, and her aura was strong. I advise you not to provoke me. It's best not to ask questions that you shouldn't ask. Sometimes ignorance is also a kind of happiness. Tang Xingai was so frightened by Qi Lili's violent behavior that he didn't dare to turn his head, and his eyes slowly turned to the dented mailbox. It's so violent and terrifying. If it were hit on the head, it would definitely be like smashing tofu. Little Manman, although Master Lei is very domineering, you must love me the most because I am your most tolerable dirty queen. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 209. Chapter 209 Dissolution of Engagement 1. Oh my God. The person in front of me is definitely the second sister-in-law. She must be the second sister-in-law. She is the second sister-in-law who is afraid of her every time she sees her. Woo woo woo. He seems to have done something wrong. Did you hear my warning? Qi Lili lowered her voice again, and the momentum around her became stronger and stronger. She put her fist away and looked at her fist with interest, as if she was going to hit him on the head like a mailbox at any time. Tang Xingai nodded as if he heard it, and even the threat in her words was heard. Second sister-in-law, I don't know anything. Huh, Qi Lili said yes, and Tang Xingai immediately pinched his ears and shrugged his shoulders to show weakness. Long live teacher Qian, long live Tang Xingai fell under Qi Lili's power in a very useless manner. He had long known about the conspiracy between Jian Yuman and Qi Lili, but as the youngest brother of the Tang family, he did not dare to provoke the two sisters. They look exactly the same. Although one of them gets along with him and often makes trouble together, after getting in touch with her, he understands that he must not provoke Jianyuman. She will secretly punish you, just like Chairman Kai's tragic end. The second sister-in-law in front of him was even more outrageous. She directly threatened him. Her aura was as intimidating as the angry elder brother. She felt like she was about to die at any moment. It would be a big deal to offend one of them. If he offends two sisters, he will suffer in the Tang family in the future. They will blow the pillow wind in his brother's ears, and the brothers will not take him out to play, and will join forces to bully him. Thinking about those days, I can't help but tremble all over. No matter what they are plotting, he will pretend not to know. Even if he blows up the Tang family, he will still pretend not to know. Go back to class, Chi Lili turned around and returned to the office. Tang Xingai patted his chest, shocked. This scene was also seen by other students, and a rumor spread: teacher Qian was rejected by the school official and was intimidated to study hard. Teacher Kinkin's reputation was even more prestige. The dented mailbox became evidence of teacher Kinkin's terror. From then on, no student would easily challenge Her Majesty, which also brought many difficulties to Jianyuman's future teaching career. Convenience. Tang Yuj returned home and immediately found his grandma. "Grandma, when will the marriage between Yuking and I be dissolved?" Grandma Tang did not expect her eldest grandson to mention the engagement again, so she sighed slightly. "Your father is strongly opposed to this matter and has come to me several times to declare that we cannot cancel it, otherwise the relationship with the Qi family will be broken." Tang Yuj threw his marriage certificate directly on the table. "Grandma, the long-term pain is worse than the short-term pain. I can't change the fact that I am married. Because my wife found out about my marriage to Yuking, and now she is having trouble with me. You don't want your grandson to have discord with his wife. Let's get divorced in the end." Grandma Tang just glanced at the certificate and knew it was genuine without having to read it. She had already investigated the matter of her grandson's marriage. He didn't lie to his family in order to break off the engagement, but he protected his wife very well and didn't let her find out who his new wife was. Grandma Tang still spoke with a serious face. "When will I bring my granddaughter-in-law back?" Tang Yuj immediately gave Grandma Tang a massage, flattering her. "After the engagement is terminated, I will find an opportunity to bring her to meet you. A kind and generous person like Grandma will definitely like her very much." Grandma Tang smiled helplessly. "As long as my grandson likes it, Grandma will force herself to like it even if she doesn't like it. Lei Ye, have you ever fallen in love with me?" End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 210. Chapter 210 Dissolution of Engagement 2. When Tang Yuj heard what Grandma Tang said, he naturally felt that she had relented and was willing to stand on his side, and immediately sweetly said what Grandma Tang liked to hear. "Since my grandson was little, I have determined to find a grandson-in-law that Grandma likes, so when I look for a wife, I find her according to Grandma's preferences, just to make Grandma happy." "You brat, you can make Grandma happy." Grandma Tang's serious expression finally collapsed under her grandson's flattery, and she revealed a faint smile. "How can this be coaxing? Everything my grandson says is from the bottom of his heart. Grandma is broad-minded and kind to others. When Grandma sees her grandson's daughter-in-law, she will definitely love her as if she were her own granddaughter." "Okay, okay. Stop flattering me, kid." Grandma Tang said to stop talking, but her eyes stopped smiling. It was obvious that Tang Yuj's words were very effective. "Tomorrow I will call the Qi family to come and talk." However, Director Qi disappeared for 2 days a few days ago and was only found this afternoon. It will take some time before we can sit down and talk. Grandma also needs to prepare gifts and generous compensation, otherwise she will be afraid it's not easy to break off the engagement. Even if it is broken off, it will cause trouble with the Chi family. It is still a bit troublesome to break off an engagement. Then it will cost grandma a lot of money. In the future, my grandson will definitely come to massage your feet every day. Tangyuj worked harder on his hands, which made Grandma Tang relax. He learned this skill specially for her, just to make it easier to talk during important moments. By the time Chairman Chi recovered, it was already 3 days before he could come out to meet him. Tangyuj went to report every day these days, but Chi Lili kicked him out every day. Warn him not to come over to see his sister before he has taken care of the matter, and to stay wherever it is cool. When Chi Lili came back from class, she saw Qian Yuman's wet mask and immediately thought of the good things they had done. Her sister's body needs to be taken good care of in the past few days. How could she let them have overly intimate behavior and take advantage of not breaking off the engagement? He made excuses not to let him meet his sister and blocked Tangyuj from the door. He also specifically told the security personnel to monitor the security of the community, saying that lawbreakers have been sneaking in recently. Lawless element Tangyuj became a key surveillance target in the community after sneaking up twice. He was often discovered by security personnel when he came to the surrounding area. Without being able to see his wife, Tangyuj could only urge his grandma to meet Chairman Chi as soon as possible to discuss the dissolution of the engagement. Finally, 5 days later, Chairman Chi and his daughter were invited to the Tang family again. Qian Yuman received a text message from Tangyuj that she would resolve the matter today and asked her to prepare a feast and wait for him to return. Qian Yuman knew that they were going to negotiate at the Tang family today, so she naturally wanted to join in the fun. She hadn't taught little brother Tang for many days. It just so happened that the pregnancy test results in the morning were good. Finally, she didn't have to be a salty fish at home to raise a baby. She was very happy when she was allowed to come out and dance. Qian Yi came to Tang's house in a hurry. Tang Xingai finally had a week's rest and was thinking about where to go to play on the weekend. As a result, teacher Qian came and was scheduled for an afternoon of classes. He almost cried sadly. Lu Rong naturally understands that Tang Xingai's grades have improved significantly recently because of his tutor. She is naturally happy to come to class on weekends. Qian Yuman did not come here today to teach Tang Xingai. She threw a bunch of exercises for him to do, and she skipped happily to Tangyuj's room again. End of this chapter.